everybody, from Atlanta. It's the Marlins and the Braves, first of a four-game series, first of a doubleheader today at SunTrust Park. And unlike when we were here a couple of weeks ago, a beautiful day for baseball. We've got two of them coming up for you today as the Atlanta Braves back in first place. And with them playing two and the Phillies not playing two today, is a chance for the Braves to get into first fully. But standing in their way is the Miami Marlins. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. So we get into town late last night, get ready for two today against the first place Atlanta Braves.
Well, the Marlins are playing a little bit better baseball. They certainly did, finishing up the homestand against the Mets. The defense was there, a little bit more timely hitting. You certainly hope that plays well here at SunTrust against the Atlanta Braves. They have not played well against them this year. They haven't had good numbers here either. You almost feel like kind of coming in, they're going to have to score some runs if they have any chance of winning. We talk about that Marlins formula. It's not going to be low-scoring games. It's going to be, can the Marlins offense generate a little bit more?
All right, well, let's check out the four starting pitchers for today's doubleheader. We start with Pablo Lopez and Tuki Toussaint. Merandy Gonzalez makes his first big league start later tonight up against the All-Star Mike Foltynewicz. But you got Toussaint today, a top prospect in the Braves system, and they just keep churning out these young starting pitchers. And we'll see Merandy with his first big league start tonight.
Yeah, it should be an awful lot of fun. I'm really excited for Pablo. He's been throwing the ball particularly well. 3 of his last 4 starts have been quality starts, 2.92 ERA, and the changeup has been a big pitch. We've talked an awful lot this season about the Atlanta Braves and their tough lefties, the Marquez, the Freeman, the NCRTs. These guys have done some serious damage. Lefty's only 2 hits against his changeup this season. It's been a great pitch for him. We'll see if he can use it today as a big weapon.
Absolutely, and continue what he did his last time out. As Todd mentioned, his last 4 have been terrific, but specifically last one against the St. Louis Cardinals, a team that had been playing very well. Well, 7 strong innings.
Yeah, he has been awesome. I mean, it's part of what he's been doing as far as those quality starts are concerned. Career high in pitches, career high in innings pitched. So that's what he's coming off of. And dare I say, he's been even more confident over his last 2 starts. That's the one thing that really stood out to me. Listen, we've talked poise since the day he took the mound. This young man's got it. But again, he's going up against some really good teams, and he's not getting rattled right now. So good stuff's coming out of his hands, and you hope that it will to calm this Braves offense. Boy, oh boy, they have been a beast all season long.
And as is the case always with the first starter of a doubleheader, you want some length out of him, especially with Merandy Gonzalez making his first big league start later on tonight. We step aside from SunTrust Park. When we come back, the first of 2 Marlins and Braves next. on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. Just outside the ballpark here, the Battery in suburban Atlanta. First of a 4-game series between the Marlins and the Braves, and first of a day-night dual admission doubleheader. Glad you're with us this afternoon. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Jessica Blaylock downstairs. Here is a look at the Marlins starting lineup, presented to you by Southwest. Rafael Ortega, who has certainly done a nice job in his first few games with the Marlins. He is in the top spot. Martin Prado swinging a hot bat in that series against the Mets, hits number 2. Isaac Galloway, just his second start of his major league career, hits in the number 6 spot for Don Mattingly. Again, some shuffling with the 2 games today. Skipper talked about it before the game today. The day-night a little easier on the body, but still a long day at the ballpark. So the Marlins will try to set the tone against the youngster Touki Toussaint. As we mentioned before, the Braves just keep on churning out these young pitchers to make major league debuts, as the first pitch to Ortega is outside. 7th youngest pitcher to start a game this season. Touki on the bump today for Atlanta.
And he certainly earned his way to the major leagues. You see those outstanding numbers that he's put up in AA and AAA. And check it out, 2.68 ERA, 116, just over 116 innings. One thing that stands out, the walks. Now, at times he's had issues with that fastball command, but the strikeouts, boy, oh boy, this kid has got an arm for you. And he's a local kid in terms of Miami is where I'm going with that. He's born and raised, well, to some extent in Coral Springs. Went to Coral Springs Christian Academy, born in Pembroke Pines.
On the ground to third, this is Camargo. And Ortega is retired.
Let's go ahead and get you the scouting report for Toussaint. He's making his major league debut. We showed you the numbers. 2.01 ERA, 5 starts at AAA. He's got an electric arm, tremendous athlete as well. It's all come together for him in 2018. He has really climbed and earned his way here. Now, fastball command could be key. Usually is 92 to 95. He's got some life, can get it up there to 97 at times. Some arm side run, but keep your eye out for that plus curveball. That's the last one. Very interesting. Been described as knee buckling, wicked, 12-6. It's just a tremendous pitch. People are raving about it, but here's what you got to know is that he doesn't just come out and throw it, 30-40% of the time. You saw one there.
Right field coming in is Markakis to make the play. A step or 2 in fair territory. 2 outs here in the first.
That plus curveball could be a big pitch for him this afternoon. He's also got a good change. All right, let's get you the Braves defensively. Acuna Jr. in left, Inciarte in center, Markakis over in right, Camargo, Culberson, Albies and Freeman, Suzuki behind the plate, Toussaint on the mound. Markakis and Freeman have started every game for the Braves this season.
And this is a Braves team that has another doubleheader today, of course. They had one against the Washington Nationals last week. These are the dog days of August for a team that is in first place, battling with the Philadelphia Phillies atop the National League East. A strike to JT Realmuto, who had gone 5 games without a hit, but does have a hit in his last 3 games, including one off the bench yesterday against the Mets. Right back to the screen, and it is 0-2. 96 miles an hour from the youngster Toussaint.
He's got a very good arm. Really, it's just been the idea of him being able to bring it together. I mean, he has been a top prospect, first-round pick, former first-round pick with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Hey, the Braves have a couple of those, don't they? Between Touki Toussaint and Dansby Swanson, who is not in the starting lineup today. A couple of guys that were first-round picks with the Arizona Diamondbacks before ultimately coming to the Atlanta Braves in separate deals. That one misses outside to Realmuto.
Now, and that is the real sharp one. He throws 2 different types of breaking balls. He'll throw the one that he's trying to get into the zone early in the count, and then that one there, which is to put you away. Boy, oh boy. It's got some late drop to it as well. What's so amazing about the Toussaint story is that he didn't start pitching till the age of 16. He's only 22 years old, so he hasn't been doing this long.
A young, lively arm.
Yes.
This one is popped up. Albies and Freeman. It will be the second baseman, Albies, to make the play. A 1-2-3 first inning of work for Toussaint. We'll see Pablo Lopez next. Marlins go in order in the first inning against Toussaint in his major league debut. And Pablo Lopez on the mound for the Marlins. This is the lineup that he will face this afternoon. It is presented to you by Southwest. Ronald Acuna Jr., who, since being placed in that leadoff spot a few weeks ago, has settled in quite nicely. That's moved Ozzie Albies down. Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, as Holly mentioned before, have started every game for the Atlanta Braves this year. Both guys putting together terrific 2018 seasons. And it is Toussaint, of course, in the 9th spot. His counterpart today is Pablo Lopez, who's coming off a terrific start last time out against the Cardinals.
Yeah, that was a great start, and it's been a great little run here. Half of his starts have been outstanding. The ones at the early going as he was settling in, not necessarily bad, but boy, oh boy, has he been good late. So his last 4, how about a 2.92 ERA and a whip of 0.97? He has been absolutely outstanding. You mentioned the August 7th start against the St. Louis Cardinals, only a couple of earned runs. Career high 108 pitches in that game. Career high 7 innings.
And he had kept the Cardinals scoreless until 7th inning, a walk and then a 2-run home run to, I guess, in some form or fashion, ruin in a way what was a terrific outing, but nonetheless has just been pitching terrific.
Well, and that's the one thing to keep your eye on, especially with the Atlanta Braves and their talented offense today. Pablo has been great in that he hasn't really had big innings. It's just the long ball at times has done him in. 7 home runs allowed in just over 40 innings of work this season. And of late, you know, we talk and rant and rave about how good he's been. That's the one thing. There have been some late homers, haven't necessarily damaged him, but at times it's changed the outing.
This one sent out to center field, way back for Sierra, and that one is gone. A leadoff home run for Ronald Acuna Jr., and it's 1-0 Atlanta.
Now, Acuna's been doing it out of the top spot in this lineup, and he has been hitting home runs as well. Out of the leadoff spot, 9 home runs. Extra base hit now in 6 straight ball games, 5 home runs as well. Oh boy, he is just really taken to the top spot.
Third leadoff home run for Acuna Jr. and the earliest of 1-0 leads for Atlanta as Albies fouls one off.
Acuna Jr. just the 3rd Braves player of the last 110 seasons to reach 15 home runs prior to his 21st birthday. Now he's got 16.
Left field line, a long run in for Ortega, but that one will fall and then bounce into the seats. 0-2. Yeah, you've probably heard the other names on that list. Braves players, 15 homers before they turned 21. Andruw Jones, who had 26, and Eddie Matthews, who had 25. So Acuna Jr. making his presence felt early this afternoon.
Yeah, again, he's taken to that top spot. An aggressive approach, jumping on fastballs, and we certainly have seen him do that here today already.
Now 0-2 to Albies, who takes upstairs. A ball and 2 strikes. Albies 3 for 10 with a home run in the recently completed series against the Milwaukee Brewers, who were in town for 3 over the weekend. This one out to left field. Ortega is in, and a sliding catch for the first out.
A great catch by Ortega in left. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Marlins defensively. They've done a very nice job this year. .987 fielding percentage. That's 8th best in Major League Baseball. Ortega, Sierra, Galloway. That's your outfield. Prado, Riddle, Rivera, and Dietrich over at first. JT behind the plate. Lopez on the mound. Rivera first start on the infield since July 5th. Third start at second base. Starlin Castro getting the game off for now anyway.
That one is inside to Freddie Freeman, who this year is 21 for 45. 6 home runs, 12 RBIs, 11 runs scored against the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, that's usually what I am from like the free throw line in high school. 21 for 45. He's hitting 21 for 45.
He
is
is
that right?
hitting 21 for 45. But fear not, Marlins fans. The fact of the matter is that he has been good against everybody this year. In fact, has a 14-game hit streak going on right now. This one smacked toward the Marlins dugout. Time for the Toyota trend. So a 14-game hit streak overall, but he's hit in 6 straight against the Marlins. 12 for 27 with 3 home runs in that span. Braves with a 5-1 record in those 6 games. Overall, Braves have won 8 of 11 against Miami this year. Cut on and missed, and that's the first strikeout this afternoon for Lopez. 2 away here in the first.
Well, Lopez going right at Freddie Freeman. Backing off. See JT slide in that 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Good enough to get it by him.
So after the leadoff home run to Acuna Jr., a fly out and a strikeout, and here's Nick Markakis taking strike 1. Markakis in the midst of a renaissance season. 14 homers, 76 RBIs, hitting .327. His first half was good enough to get to the All-Star game for the first time in his career. This is the last year of a 4-year deal with the Atlanta Braves. Takes a pitch upstairs, 2-1.
Markakis leading the National League in doubles, 36. And the first Braves player in franchise history to collect at least 35 doubles in 4 straight seasons.
That's really always been his thing.
It's his calling card, right? The double, line to line.
Going all the way back to his time with the Baltimore Orioles. In fact, right now 5th among active players in doubles. This one, 2 hops to Prado at third, and after the leadoff home run, Lopez sets the next 3 down, but it's 1-0 Atlanta. ready to enter for a chance to win an all-inclusive stay in Nassau in the Bahamas on Labor Day weekend for the Southwest Airlines Summer Days Getaway. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweeps and hashtag sponsored to @FoxSportsFL for your chance to win. Touki Toussaint, in his second inning of work, delivers a pitch that's outside to Derek Dietrich. It's Dietrich, JT Riddle, and Isaac Galloway due up here in the second, with the Braves up 1-0 on a Ronald Acuna Jr. leadoff home run. Outside to Dietrich, and it is 2-0.
Well, Dietrich, 5 for 24 on the just finished homestand. Did have a couple doubles. Good numbers here in Atlanta. 28 games in his career. 300 hitter. 302 to be exact.
Of course, with the move sending Justin Bour over to Philadelphia, Dietrich has gotten more time at first base recently. And here he draws the 4-pitch leadoff walk in the second.
Now that is one thing to keep your eye on today with Toussaint. That's kind of been his issue really leading into this season, 2018. As we mentioned early, Toussaint just picked up pitching at the age of 16. Now, he's got electric stuff. You've already seen the run on the fastball, 94. We've seen 96, the big curveball, adding and subtracting to it, and the changeup. But fastball command at times gets away from him. What he's actually done better here in 2018 than he's done in any of his other minor league seasons, and he's been able to get his fastball under control enough to get his secondary pitches to start to work for him.
An 0-1 to JT Riddle in on the hands and fouled up the first baseline. Quickly 0-2. JT 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter yesterday. A couple of hits, including a triple and a run scored in the series, or the homestand rather, against the Cardinals, against the Mets, and now a road trip through Atlanta and Washington, D.C. as that one is fouled. Just got a piece, still 0-2. So 2 today, 1 of course now, and 1 later on tonight. And then 2 night games on Tuesday and Wednesday for the Marlins. An off day in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Washington Nationals. Toussaint set for a 1-2 pitch to Riddle, who just kind of serves one out into center field, a base hit. And up to second goes Dietrich. Marlins have 2 on to begin the second.
Yeah, nice job by Riddle. I'll tell you what, he did a good job of recognizing the pitch. Kind of his body got away from his swing a little bit, but he was able to decelerate. That's right, watch the hands. Just shortens up and slows the hands down in order to make contact, and it's good enough. This breaking ball well off the outside corner. Good enough for a base hit. That should tell you. We always talk about trying to get as much effort as you can into your swing. Right there, JT just soft serve into center.
It was like the first round of batting practice, just
moving the ball around the field, see it, kind of ease into it.
And now Galloway toward the right center field gap. That's going to get down for extra bases. In to score is Dietrich. On his way to third is Riddle, as Isaac Galloway has himself an RBI double. The Marlins have tied it up here in the second.
I'll tell you what, Galloway is a huge fan of Atlanta. It was only a week or so ago he got his first big league hit here. We kind of we had it rain so that we could get it for him. No, I'm just kidding. And he's gone a long way, and here he is. Welcome back to Atlanta. Great swing, first pitch. He gets a fastball out over the plate, drives it into right center field.
First career double and RBI for Galloway. And now that brings up Magneuris Sierra with the corners in. He goes down the left field line, but that one is caught, however, by the ball boy down the line. Nice catch on the line drive. So it is 0-1 to Sierra. Again, second and third for the Marlins. Middle infield back at relatively normal depth. Corners in. Camargo and Freeman, third and first. 0-2 to Sierra. Just got a piece, and it is still 0-2 to the Marlins center fielder.
Yeah, the Marlins offense is starting to come back to life. We saw it in the last 2 games of the Mets series. Down in both games, bouncing back, getting some big 2-out hits, getting kind of a rhythm to the lineup once again, and I think we're seeing here in the second inning.
Well, what you'd like to see from Sierra right now is, sure, if he finds the gap, great, but just a fly ball. Just get the Marlins the lead somehow. Get a productive out, a productive at bat from Sierra. Start to, we talk about confidence all the time with a guy like Trevor Richards when he's on the mound, but even confidence at the plate for a guy like Sierra. Just help your team somehow, some way. He's got a fight here with the ball and 2 strikes on him. A line drive out to Acuna in left field. He comes up throwing, not deep enough.
Tomalo Suave, Miami. Join the Marlins and Riboli Family Wines on Friday, August 24th for our next wine event of the season. With the purchase of a ticket package, you'll receive a flight of Riboli wine with your food pairings for each sample, just $30. Or purchase the new couples package for just $50. Visit marlins.com/wine today.
So Toussaint, the 10th Atlanta Braves player to debut this season, 3rd starting pitcher. As Yadiel Rivera takes a look at a called strike. 0-1 to the Marlins second baseman this afternoon.
Well, the most part, the Atlanta Braves game plan with Toussaint is to use that breaking ball in a lot of ways to set up his fastball, pitching backwards first time through against the Marlins. Back-to-back breaking balls against Rivera.
The leadoff walk has come around to score. Marlins looking for more as it's an 0-2 to Rivera. He cuts and misses. And on 3 pitches, he is set down on strikes for the second out here in the second inning. You know, last time we were in Atlanta, people didn't want me talking about the weather. Today, I think I'm going to do that. Can I do that? Nice day today?
As long as it doesn't rain, that's all we ask for. Rain's what got us here in the first place, pal.
That's right.
We've got a doubleheader today with a little bit of a break in the middle.
You're right. A nap break, perhaps. Beautiful day here in Atlanta as Pablo Lopez lines one into the seats. 0-1. Yeah, you get to Atlanta in August, there's always the threat of it being roughly 212 degrees, but today, not the case. About 86. And 0-2. Lopez trying to help himself. He'll take outside. Home plate umpire today is Scott Berry. Tom Woodring, the first base umpire. Paul Nauert, the crew chief, is over at second, and Chad Fairchild is at third. This will be the 23rd pitch of the second inning after a 12-pitch first for Toussaint. Misses upstairs. Suzuki able to corral it and keep Riddle from coming in from third base.
That fastball looked like about 115 after the 5 consecutive breaking balls he'd thrown. Nice job by Suzuki. I don't know how he caught that.
Just missed. A gutsy take by Lopez, but the count runs full.
Yeah, borderline pitch outside the strike zone, did make its way back to that corner. Braves fans thought he had it.
Payoff pitch on the way to Lopez, and he takes a called strike 3, 96 miles an hour from Toussaint, but the Marlins get one back on the Galloway RBI double. We're tied.
The second. He is one of those young players who's getting a chance to compete this season. Here is Pablo with what he's learning about himself as a big league pitcher.
You can always learn a lot from every start, either about your mechanics, about the way you went through some at-bats, some inning, the way you prepare. It's mainly just like, every team is different. They have different approaches, they have different hitters, they have different philosophies about what they do on the plate. So it's just kind of like separate those things, know what each team they try to do when they're on the plate, and just mainly that.
And we know that one thing Don Mattingly loves about Pablo, his composure. And guys, we saw it in that first inning. He gives up the leadoff home run to Acuna, and then he retires the next 3 hitters that he faces.
Yeah, Jessica, thanks so much. There's been so much to be impressed about in the early goings of the big league career of Pablo Lopez. As Johan Camargo takes a called strike, it's Camargo, Enciarte, and Suzuki here in a 1-1 game in the second. That one misses a ball and a strike. And the fact that, and we've heard him say that a number of times, that he'll kind of reassess everything after each start. And I'm sure, Holly, you could talk to this. Players do that anyway. But the fact that he's doing it at such a young age and not just like, okay, I'm just going to live on whatever I've got, my natural abilities. Like, he's got that mental part of the game pretty much in control already. And it's only been, what, this is his 8th start at the big league level.
He's 22 years old, and he is, he's pitching like a 24, 25-year-old who's established his stuff at the major league level and now is trying to figure it out. That's one thing that really kind of stands out to me. Ground ball to the right side. Third out, he's gotten on that changeup against the lefties. Yeah, I mean, when you look at who Lopez is as a person, I don't think any of us is really surprised. I mean, we said it in the open, poised since the minute we met him, right? So I'm really not surprised he hasn't really fallen into any pitfalls or traps or patterns. I think what's impressed me the most is that he understands, like, I need to make my secondary pitches better. Like most guys are like, just give me the outs right now.
Right.
He says to himself, well, not only do I want to get the outs, but I need to know how to attack teams differently. I'll use the last game he pitched. Career high in innings and pitches. He also had a career high in curveballs that start.
Here is Enciarte with a base hit into left center field. A 1-out knock for the Braves center fielder.
Hey, Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app, take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
It almost seems like he likes the results, but he's also intrigued as to how he got them. You know, that process that everybody talks about. It's not just getting the hits. It's what are you doing to get the hits. It's not just getting the outs as a pitcher, but how are you doing it?
Well, I think it was after it was like his second or third start, and we had the privilege of getting to talk to him during the game. You know, we had him mic'd up. We were talking about, yeah, you know, I'm watching hitters' swings in the on-deck circle as I'm preparing to go to battle with the guy that I've got in the box, you know, and executing the game plan. But I'm also looking at swings in the on-deck circle. I mean, I don't think fans realize how advanced that is.
Yeah.
To my point, you know, Toussaint's making the start today for the Atlanta Braves. He's going to do whatever Suzuki tells him to do. He's going to try to execute pitches, but he's not going to get out of his lane. His lane is to follow the game plan of Suzuki and the Atlanta Braves. Pablo's already to the point where I think he's getting creative and has a say in a lot of what goes on.
Suzuki lines one out to right field, and it is Galloway on the track to make the catch.
Yeah, great read, great catch by Galloway and right. I'll tell you what, that was not easy. The ball to rocket off the bat of Suzuki. He had a great jump, nice drop step, and got himself into position. Look how quickly he gets back to the warning track to make that catch. Suzuki thought he had himself a double when he hit it.
So 1 on 2 out for Charlie Culberson, who has only 14 at-bats this year against the Marlins, but the highest batting average among the Atlanta Braves. He is 7 for 14 against Miami this season as he takes a ball that just misses upstairs, maybe outside a little bit as well. 0-1.
Culberson has earned himself more playing time this season. He's started in a variety of places, making his 5th start at short. A lot of that based on the fact that he has been so productive with the bat.
He has played just about everywhere. 29 games and 23 starts in left, 14 games and 12 starts at third, 6 games and 5 starts at second. There's some others mixed in there, but I think you get the point at that rate. He has been the do-everything guy for the Atlanta Braves this year. 284, 8 home runs, 32 RBIs. He gets the start at shortstop this afternoon. Probably see Dansby Swanson there later on tonight.
I'll tell you what, good use of the changeup from Lopez. We haven't talked about his changeup too much this season. I thought maybe today we would see a little bit more of it, especially with the number of lefties, hot-hitting lefties in this Braves lineup, and he's got a good one so far. As I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, he's only given up 2 hits on that changeup, a couple of singles. Hitters are hitting .095 against it coming in.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 2nd inning. Trying to shut down the Braves has been a bit of an issue for the Marlins this year with 2 outs. This one is popped up, foul territory. There will be room for Dietrich, who makes the play in front of the Braves dugout. They shut him down here in the 2nd, tied at 1 through 2. Doubleheader between the Marlins and the Braves. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Second year of this ballpark here in Atlanta, and the first major league start for Touki Toussaint. He'll face the top of the Marlins order here in the third, tied up at 1. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, and Jessica Blaylock with you. Glad you're with us this afternoon, and looking forward to chatting with you again later on tonight. Miranda Gonzalez and Mike Fultonevich, the two starting pitchers in the nightcap, as the first pitch to Ortega is in there for a called strike. Ortega grounded out to Camargo at third back in the first inning.
Ortega's been pretty impressive so far. This game number 4 with the Marlins. Good series against the Mets. Nice day yesterday. Couple of stolen bases, couple of hits, scored a run.
Well, Don Mattingly was asked about him yesterday after the game, again prior to today's game, just about, again, small sample size, a weekend's worth of games, but just how impressed he has been. And he said, you know, it just seems like he's been a little bit more polished than some of the other guys that we've had out there in center field, just that he's been around a little bit more, knows what he needs to do to be successful.
So far taking full advantage of the opportunity. Yes, this Marlins lineup struggling just a bit in the month of August, so any kind of production probably earn you some more starts.
Able to hold up there, and the count now full.
One thing that was impressive to my eye, certainly over the weekend or even yesterday, turned around Syndergaard, turned around his fastball a couple of times yesterday. Ability to hit velocity 96 plus.
Just want a dribbler back to the mound. Toussaint fields and throws to Freeman for the first out in the third. As we mentioned before, second game tonight is Miranda Gonzalez, who will make his first big league start, and figures to have some length to him. 7 innings pitched in each of his last 3. That's Miguel Rojas. Pinch hits for Martin Prado.
Well, that's not good.
No, it is not. So we will certainly keep our ear to the street, as this one is down the left field line and foul. Not a lot of real estate once you get down into that corner, where from our vantage point Acuna Jr. disappears. But that one stayed on the playing field, but somehow found the dirt down the line.
Now Rojas swinging one of the hotter bats in this Marlins lineup. 5 for his last 18. Home run, 4 RBIs.
So again, we'll keep our ears and our eyes open for a potential reason as to why Martin Prado has left this game after a couple of innings. But it is Rojas here in the third, down 0-2, and again right back to the screen. Another home run for Rojas over the weekend. That was Friday against Zach Wheeler. Now 9 home runs this season, had 4 in his entire career leading up to the 2018 season. Actually had a multi-homer game here in Atlanta back in May. Battling the youngster Toussaint here in the third this afternoon. Here comes from Touki, swung on and missed. That one at 86 miles an hour. His third strikeout to here in the third.
Yeah, deceived him. Rojas, that is, at 86 miles an hour. A little bit of a cut. That might have been his slider. I wonder if he has one. Certainly in his scouting report, we've obviously talked about the plus curveball and that changeup. Not sure if that was it.
Been all over the map velocity-wise, and apparently all over the map when it comes to the strike zone as well, as he gets Real Muto in the back of the leg. A 2-out hit by pitch, and JT is aboard. You saw that pitch speed differential from 96 to 75. That'll bring up Derek Dietrich now. Dietrich walked and scored in the second inning. The first pitch strike to 10 of the 13 batters faced for Toussaint.
And there's the split change. Well, with Toussaint this afternoon, of course, it's still early. Any kind of trouble, any type of base runner on, we've seen more breaking balls really starting to lean on it. We did see that in the second inning. Got himself in trouble. Marlins had second and third and nobody out. We saw heavy curveball usage.
The 10th Atlanta player to debut this season. Third starting pitcher. We've seen Mike Soroka, although he debuted against the New York Mets. Also saw Colby Allard, who debuted against the Marlins last time they were in town a couple of weeks back, as Dietrich comes up empty. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And able to even the count with that split change. It's been a big pitch for him. He has thrown 19 curveballs in this game, but starting to use the changeup a little bit more. Saw a couple of scouting reports on him this season, and the word that was out there was that his changeup has in a lot of ways been sometimes the more impressive pitch.
Dietrich pops this one up in front of the mound. Freeman is there to call everybody off, and Toussaint leaves a runner aboard. We head to the bottom of the third, tied at 1. Blaylock, first of a day-night doubleheader, Marlins and Braves. As a defensive change now, Miguel Rojas stays in the game. He pinch hit for Martin Prado, who left the game prior to his at-bat in the top of the third inning. No official word yet on the reason for that departure. Of course, when we hear something, we'll be sure to pass that information along to you. So Pablo Lopez will face 9-1-2 for the Braves here in the third inning. Tuki Toussaint to lead off, and then Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies. Those are pretty good minor league numbers. Of course, in the minor leagues, as a pitcher, you don't get too many at bats. So,
now the word out, like I said, every scouting report that you'll run across, any person you'll talk to that knows this young man, first thing they say is he's a tremendous athlete, and I think those numbers kind of back that up.
Spin out of the way of that one from Lopez, who was down on the count, 2 balls and a strike. One thing that you may have noticed with Toussaint, and certainly have noticed with Lopez, is both youngsters either go completely out of the stretch, or that, as Lopez is doing, that one kind of quick step back, that modified stretch, instead of this hands over the head and all this big kind of windup. As Toussaint is rung up on strikes for the first out here in the third.
On select games this season, one lucky fan will be awarded a 2-year car lease during the middle of the 8th inning. The Marlins Year of the Fan sweepstakes, driven by AutoNation. Marlins fans are automatically entered to win when their digital ticket is scanned on eligible dates. For official rules, visit marlins.com/YOF sweepstakes today.
That one missed low to Ronald Acuna Jr., who hit a home run just to the right of center field back in the first inning. Takes a big pass at that one. Comes up empty, 1-1. Little into Acuna Jr. Now the 2-1 from Lopez also misses inside, 3-1.
Well, it was only a couple of months ago that we were talking about Albies and all the damage he was doing in the top spot of this lineup. Well, since the All-Star break, Acuna, given the opportunity to be the leadoff hitter, has done his job quite well without getting into all the home runs and everything else, which is more than anything the slugging percentage. I think most importantly, he scored 19 runs in 22 games out of the top spot, and that's exactly what you want, is somebody who's getting on base, scoring lots of runs in front of Markakis and Freeman.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, but if you get on base the way that the guys you mentioned, the way that they swing the bats, you will certainly fill up the run column.
Right.
Here's Albies now. Swings at the first pitch, grounds it foul.
You've got 2 hitters like Markakis and Freeman who both handle lefties very well. They don't handle lefties. They actually dominate lefties better than most righties. And I guess the point is that both are having, well, I don't want to say career years, but incredible years. They're neck and neck, if you will, in the MVP race. And the point being, if Albies and Acuna get on base with any type of consistency, they're going to score under all circumstances.
This one popped up for Rivera. And that is the second out here in the third. So 1 on and 2 out for Freddie Freeman, who struck out on a fastball back in the first inning. Again, Freeman riding a 14-game hit streak. It is his 3rd hit streak of 10 or more games this season. The last Atlanta Brave to do that happened to be Martin Prado back in 2011. But Freeman has had multiple lengthy hit streaks this season. Markakis has had lengthy hit streaks this season. At the moment, hitting .319 for Freeman, .326 for Markakis. Incredibly consistent.
Yeah, I believe, what, #1 and #2 in batting average in the National League. Is that right?
I believe you are correct,
sir. I don't think anybody's between them. Again, another good changeup from Lopez. It's been a big pitch for him so far this afternoon.
Ball and strike to Freeman, who grounds one foul. Freeman, an all-star for the third time in his career. Earlier this summer, made his first start in the Midsummer Classic. StatCast AI, powered by AWS. Yep, that's Rivera way out there in right field. So oftentimes we see the Marlins play a shift with 3 men on the right side of the infield, but usually they're actually on the infield. This more the traditional shift of the second baseman in right field.
Now Lopez has been able to get the ball by Freeman so far this afternoon, and with 2 strikes. I think that Freeman, working on his timing at the plate, probably more likely to pull than just about any other time. Lopez has been going at him on the inside part of the plate. He's going to go back there again. And that's where he picked up the strikeout in the first.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Freeman. He swings and misses, and Lopez strikes him out for the second time this afternoon. It is his third strikeout overall. We're through 3 in Atlanta. Trust Park, first of a day-night doubleheader. So the folks back home in South Florida are getting set for the South Florida Honda Dealers Marlins Live pregame show. We'll put quotes around pregame because it's in between. But Craig intervening, Tommy Hutton from the studios. Perhaps talk a little bit about the opener and also game 2 of the doubleheader tonight. Miranda Gonzalez and Mike Foltynewicz, the 2 starting pitchers. First pitch scheduled for 7:35 here tonight. JT Riddle to lead things off. A soft base hit the other way back in the second inning. Isaac Galloway and Magneuris Sierra to bat here in the 4th against Tuki Toussaint. On a few hops to Albies at second, and Riddle is retired. Couple of hits, Riddle and Galloway, the back-to-back knocks, one of which off the bat of the man digging in right now, Galloway. Got his first major league double, first major league RBI back in the second inning.
Yeah, back-to-back pitches, in fact. Curveball, Riddle. Soft line drive into center. Tried to get a fastball by Galloway, and boy, oh boy, was he all over it. Crushed it into right center field.
So Galloway in right field to begin the day today. That gives Brian Anderson a bit of a day off. We've seen certainly an awful lot of Brian Anderson this year, playing in roughly every game, and count on one hand, I would imagine, the amount of days off that he's had.
118 starts on the season. It's the league leaders.
On 1 ball and 2 strikes to Galloway as Toussaint delivers his 60th pitch of the afternoon, gets Galloway fishing, and there are 2 outs here in the 4th.
Hale started him off with the breaking ball, added to that breaking ball after getting ahead with 2 strikes, and picks up the strikeout. The first one, not as nasty as this one. This one, the wipeout curveball. Good enough to get it by Galloway.
Here is Sierra. Swings and misses at the first pitch. 0-1. Sierra lined out to Acuna Jr. back in the second inning. And grounds one fair. Freeman with it. And steps on the bag. A 1-2-3 4th inning for Toussaint. Tied at 1. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Back here at SunTrust Park. Glad you're with us this afternoon. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Jessica Blaylock tied up at 1 as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be Nick Markakis to lead things off, then Johan Camargo and Ender Inciarte against Pablo Lopez, who was at 53 pitches through the first 3 innings of work. Surrendered a couple of hits, 3 strikeouts, and 1 walk. First pitch to Markakis misses a little low. Ball and strike to Markakis. Markakis entered the day with 147 hits. That is tops in the National League. trying to do something that hasn't been done very often, adding to that with a base hit that splits the outfielders in right center field. And another double for Nick Markakis. Well, that was just a double. And the reason I say that is because if you stayed up late last night, T-Mobile Built for Baseball will remind you that David Bodie, with the bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and his team down by 3, hits the biggest of grand slams that you could possibly hit to dead center field. An unbelievable win last night for the Chicago Cubs, and that's a tough loss for the Washington Nationals, but overall, an unbelievable moment for baseball. My goodness.
The ultimate grand slam, I believe. Isn't that what it's called? Saw that in a number of spots. Maybe they were just excited. Like I tend to get when you see moments like that. Boy, oh boy, stepped right into it, got himself a fastball, and ended the game with 1 swing of the bat.
Amazing. Pinch hit, nonetheless. Well, here is Johan Camargo ahead in the count, 1-0. So trust us, he was wearing a jersey as he crossed home plate. And then presto changeo, it's gone.
We call that the D trick, don't we?
That's right. Well, he's wearing an undershirt, so maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that was one of those moments. Of course, the Chicago Cubs at the start of play today, 3 games clear of the Milwaukee Brewers, who just lost 2 out of 3 to the Atlanta Braves here over the weekend. Big win for Chicago. An emotional night at Wrigley Field for sure. As Camargo fouls that one away. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And another good changeup by Lopez to a left-handed batter. It's good to see. It's been a big pitch for him this afternoon. When he's got himself in some trouble, he's gone to that changeup to get out of it. Going back to the Markakis double, the Atlanta Braves lead National League with 238 doubles. Marlins, in fact, have actually given up the most doubles this year.
This one looped over Rojas's head and into shallow left field. That's going to bring home Markakis easily. And the throw in from left is not in time, and it's another 2-base hit. Back-to-back doubles here for Atlanta in the 4th. They've got a 2-1 lead.
Now Camargo does what he does best, drive in runs for the Atlanta Braves. Since the start of June, he leads this team in RBIs. He's beat on the pitch. It's a fastball, but keeps his hands inside the baseball and drops it. Drops it down that left field line. It's softly enough that he's able to get into second base.
That one bunted foul by Ender Inciarte, so that just the 5th time with a little help from Ender. The 5th time in 15 hitters that Pablo Lopez has started a Braves batter out with a strike. Cut on and missed, and it's 0-2 to Inciarte. At a base hit back in the 2nd. Thought Inciarte may lose a little bit of playing time with the acquisition of Adam Duvall, but Duvall not starting today, just 2 for 17 in 7 games with the Atlanta Braves.
Even with the acquisition of Duvall, you've got to believe that Inciarte is, with the strikeout, as you see there, one of the better answers as far as the defensive side of things in center field. I know it's not his best season out there. He's made 5 errors, but still a big part of what they do, hitting over 290 since the All-Star break.
One out now for Kurt Suzuki, who flew out to Galloway back in the 2nd. In on the hands, and it's a ball and no strikes to the Braves backstop. Well, Suzuki now 9 for his last 66. Right around 135 over the course of his last 17 games plus today's at bat. But hitting .293 at the start of play here at SunTrust Park this year. Here comes the 1-1 from Lopez. On the ground to Rojas, who looks the runner back. Gets Suzuki at first for the second out.
Well, Suzuki frustrated. A couple of hard hit balls today and nothing to show for it. Nice job by Lopez. Continues to get the ground balls. That one certainly stands out. Culberson's going to get an intentional walk here. Bring Toussaint to the plate. So officially the second walk of the afternoon for Lopez, but it will set up a force at any base for the Marlins, who trail this one now 2-1. Toussaint struck out back in the third inning. One of 4 strikeouts so far today for Lopez. Well, Toussaint, certainly over the last 3 pitches he's seen from Lopez, willing to go after the breaking ball. He's not shown any type of discipline. I would expect to see another one right here. A couple of fastballs pretty hard. Foul is first at bat.
Cut on and miss. Got him to chase a little outside the zone. And for the 8th time in 8 starts, Pablo Lopez. It's been pretty good. He's on his way to his 5th inning of work. Down 2-1.
Temperatures in the 90s, but Marlins first base coach Perry Hill is putting a unique spin on things. Before he takes the field every inning, he's putting a wet piece of lettuce in his helmet. I looked at Mike Pagliarulo and I said, what is Perry doing? And he said, I don't know. And then Pags went up to Perry and said, hey, do you always use lettuce or do you switch in cabbage sometimes? And Perry said very seriously, cabbage actually sits better on your head. I just saw Perry as he was taking the field, and I said, what's with the lettuce? And he said, it's an old trick to keep you cool. Pete Rose used to do it, guys.
Well, if Pete did it, then it obviously, you know, it's got to work. The guy had 4,256 hits, for goodness sakes.
Well, I'd bet on it.
Inside to Yadiel Rivera. Ball and a strike to lead things off here in the 5th. And Pablo Lopez and Rafael Ortega. Tell you what, those baseball lifers like Perry Hill, they've got all the tricks. Rivera out to right, but this will stay up for Marquez. One away here in the 5th.
The helmets, I mean, those skull helmets, I'll tell you what, they are as hot as anything. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, certainly the right thing to do to protect the base coaches, you know, years ago, obviously bringing those in. But when you wear one of those, not only is it heavy on your head, but it's hot. I mean, it just retains the heat. You see those little vents in there? Yeah, they do absolutely nothing. They're
the lettuce.
They're there for style points. That's it.
Lopez the other way, a line drive into the glove of Acuna Jr. for the second out here in the 5th inning. Time now for this day in Major League history, presented to you by Geico. Mike Mordecai, part of a 2-1 Marlins win over the Dodgers in 2003. An 11th inning walk-off home run, the first time in club history that they had walk-off home runs in back-to-back games. The day before, it was Ramon Castro in the 13th inning.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Morty and the extension of that entire roster starting to get the swagger that was going to lead to a championship run. It was really all hands on deck. Even at that point in the season, that was mid-August, and certainly we weren't in a position as a team to give any games back. Going head-to-head with the Philadelphia Phillies, we kind of, you know, we knew that, but you know, the idea is that every at-bat was a huge at-bat.
Toussaint on the bare hand, and he gets Ortega. A 1-2-3 5th inning on just 7 pitches for Toussaint. 2-1. And Jessica Blaylock with you in Atlanta. Glad you're with us this afternoon. First of a day-night doubleheader between the Marlins and the Braves. They'll play again 7:30 later on tonight. Miranda Gonzalez, we've seen him out of the bullpen. He'll make his first major league start later on tonight against an all-star Mike Foltynewicz. Top of the order for the Braves here in the 5th. Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, and Freddie Freeman against Pablo Lopez. Braves with a run in the first and a run in the fourth. The run in the first, thanks to the man at the plate, Acuna Jr. with a home run to right center field, or just to the right of center field. Either way, got the scoring started for Atlanta. On the ground to short. Riddle up with it. And a high throw. And Acuna down, but fortunately up quickly. Of course, Acuna Jr. missed a chunk of time this year on a kind of an awkward step on a base in Fenway Park. Thought his season might be done, but fortunately was back relatively quickly as he reaches here on the E6.
Well, I'll tell you what, Acuna's the one who forced this. He got out of the box fast and was flying down the line. That forced Riddle to really kind of speed up the throw, and of course once he did, it sailed. See him a little misstep there as he crosses the first base bag. Well, that's applied pressure right there. Acuna made that happen.
So here is Ozzie Albies. Takes the ball outside. Albies 0 for 2 today. Fly ball out to left field. Ortega, a nice sliding catch back in the first inning, and popped up to second base in the third. Runner goes. JT's throw is not in time. It's a stolen base for Acuna Jr. And the Braves have a runner in scoring position here in the fifth.
Well, it certainly seems like Acuna's game is in another gear today. He's been playing great baseball since the All-Star break, but he's been all over it. Great jump. He kind of got that one on Lopez. That's not really on JT. A lot of times we watch the Marlins catchers make up for a slow delivery to the plate, but not in this instance. Just too much speed from Acuna.
The 8th stolen base this year, compared to just 2 caught stealing for Acuna Jr. Speaking of caught stealing, Lowe's whole team together. Part of the reason why the Marlins have been so good at the caught stealing is the pop times, the best since 2016 among the leaders. This one on the ground to Riddle, and it will advance the runner. Acuna Jr. over to third on the Albies ground out. So many ways to control the running game, and one thing that the Marlins, and there have been many, but one of the things the Marlins have been good at is the pop time for both JT and Brian Holiday this year. And so much of that is the footwork. Of course, Brian Schneider deserves an awful lot of credit for working with these guys to help control the running game, as Freeman fouls it right back to the screen.
Well, Freeman a strikeout victim both times this afternoon. Lopez got him on a fastball in first time up, changeup his last at bat. He's really crowded Freeman, not letting him get those arms extended. And the combination of fastballs in, changeups away. Freddie Freeman hitting .366 with runners in scoring position this season.
That's good, right? I mean, if you're into run production.
Yeah, I was just, you kind of start to think back to, some of those cliches and catchphrases that you hear throughout your career. And the Marlins, pull the infield in, three on the right side, 1 on the left. Used to always say that a 300 hitter gets turned into a 400 hitter. Well, what's a 366 hitter get turned into?
Just wide of the first base bag, stays the ball in 2 strikes. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And a left, a line drive to Ortega, who comes up throwing, and the throw is a little off the mark. It's a sac fly for Freddie Freeman, and a 3-1 Braves lead.
Now Freeman stays on it and drives it to left. Ortega does a nice job. Good strong throw just offline. The ball beat Acuna. The throw was offline. That fastball up. He would have possibly had a play if the throw was at home or maybe even to the third base side, but really no shot on that first base side. And those are always the hardest, I got to be honest. I always found that fly ball was a little bit easier to set yourself and get some momentum going. Sometimes hard to do on a line drive like that, get anything going towards home.
Markakis with a double. Came around to score. This one to Dietrich, who makes the play up the line, steps on the bag, and the inning is over. But the Braves get one more on the Freeman sac fly and lead it 3-1. As we go to the top of the 6th inning, still no official word yet on Martin Prado, who left this ball game, but it will be his replacement, Miguel Rojas, to lead things off here in inning number 6. It is Rojas, Realmuto, and Dietrich against Touki Toussaint, whose first pitch of this frame will be number 70 this afternoon, and it's in there for a called strike. Toussaint struck out Rojas, who at the time was a pinch hitter back in the 3rd inning. And this one is laced foul down the line. Nothing in 2 to Rojas here in inning number 6. To this point, not a bad first impression for Touki Toussaint.
Well, other than the back-to-back hits on back-to-back pitches in the 2nd inning, it's been crickets for the Marlins offense. They haven't been able to get anything going.
That one fair over to 3rd, and a ground out to begin things here in the 6th. I mentioned earlier that Toussaint, originally a 1st-round pick at the Diamondbacks, 16th overall back in 2014. Drafted out of Coral Springs Christian Academy. Was born in Pembroke Pines, and as Holly mentioned before, quickly moved to Haiti, where his dad was into politics. Was actually a presidential candidate in Haiti. Now back here in the United States, as this is inside to JT Realmuto. So his given name is Danny. He's always gone by Tukey, which was taken from the, as the story goes, the first 3 letters of his father's last name, Toussaint, and the first 2 letters of his mother, Kiti. So Tukey, Toussaint. Came from the Diamondbacks to the Braves in a deal that sent Bronson Arroyo. It was back in June of 2015 in exchange for Phil Gosselin. He was traded on his 19th birthday.
Well, and the idea between, with the trade was the fact that Arroyo had a bunch of money left on his contract in 1 year, and I believe an additional year. I think there was an option in there with a buyout. But point being, they were able to get their hands on Toussaint for about $11 million. It's kind of the way the deal went down. Gosselin, a utility player for the most part, he did play well for the Diamondbacks. But the point is, there were a lot of people, a lot of baseball writers sounded off on this one. Like, how in the world were the Atlanta Braves able to get this young man and his talent basically for a price? It felt like it was a sell-off in Arizona, and really didn't know how to, maybe, how it was going to be viewed today. I saw a number of articles last night, ball 4 to JT Realmuto, out of Arizona. So they're still paying attention down there to Toussaint, is my point, is where I was trying to get to. The fact that they certainly recognize his talent and what happened in that trade. I mean, it's a trade that has been talked about on so many levels for a number of years, and I think today everybody getting their first glimpse of him at the major league level, probably pretty impressed.
Yeah, and it likely will just be a spot start for him. That one in the dirt to Dietrich. But again, you never know. I mean, how many times have we've seen it? I remember we talked about, actually, last time we were here, we said the same thing about Colby Allard, who was making his major league debut that night against the Marlins, and we referenced Walker Buehler back when we were in Los Angeles in April, and Buehler has certainly put himself in the mix for a National League Rookie of the Year, along with Marlins Brian Anderson, Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto. Probably make a case for Derek Rodriguez there in San Francisco as well. Of course, the Braves have gone through a couple of lean years here in Atlanta. Maybe a year ahead of schedule, as they enter the day tied atop the National League East with the Philadelphia Phillies. And what has been fascinating about this entire thing with the Atlanta Braves, again, we've talked about it, Marlins folks have talked about it, kind of saying, well, they are where we want to be and they've been where we are. And that's kind of the hope, is that the Marlins are going to be able to turn things around the way that the Braves have. But it starts with a strong farm system, of which the Braves are certainly seeing the fruits of that labor right now. As Dietrich grounds one to Freeman, up with it to second. The return throw to Toussaint covering. A 3-6-1 double play. The youngster is through 6 with a 3-1 lead.
Inclusive stay in Nassau in the Bahamas on Labor Day weekend. The Southwest Airlines Summer Days Getaway. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweeps. Hashtag sponsored at Fox Sports FL for your chance to win.
Three-1 Braves as we head to the bottom of the sixth inning here in Atlanta. First of a two-game doubleheader today, I should say. We do have news, by the way, on Martin Prado. Started this game at third base in the number 2 spot, but then left. Keep an eye on him. This is in the first inning. Pop up down the left field line, chasing after it. Unable to make the catch, but a long run for Prado, and then was seen later kind of stretching out the left quad. So the official word is a left quad strain, currently being listed as day-to-day. Here is Johan Camargo to lead things off. Takes a strike at the bottom of the zone. It is Camargo, Inciarte, and Suzuki against Pablo Lopez, who is at 85 pitches here as we begin the sixth inning. So again, day to day right now for Prado, but again, the legs on Martin have been certainly an issue, definitely in 2018. You hate to see it, especially, again, not knowing exactly how long he'll be out, but a guy who, again, was starting to maybe churn up the offense a little bit, and then here we go, another setback with the leg for Martin. As Camargo starts out the inning with a base hit into center field, hustling towards second. Here is the throw, and he is in there safely. A hustle double for Camargo to begin the sixth.
Now the Braves have been the more aggressive team on the bases today. This ball, it's all about location. Kind of splits the plate at the thighs. Camargo, nice swing. Most people thought it was a single, and then Camargo really turns it on. Maybe a little bit of a deke there around first base. I wonder, it didn't look to me like Sierra gave up any ground or let up at all. Camargo just accelerated through after kind of slowing down for a second and gets himself into second. The Atlanta Braves, they're good on the bases. We talk about this an awful lot. You don't just steal bases and call yourself a good base running team. This Atlanta Braves group, they run the bases hard. Let's take a look. See Sierra making his way over. He just gets himself into position on 2 hops. Everything maybe a hint more of urgency, but Camargo really just kind of set it up by being aggressive.
And a productive out for Inciarte. On the ground ball to the right side. So now Camargo over at third. In fact, that was the third consecutive inning that the Braves had the leadoff man on second base, essentially. They had the double, of course, here, the double for Markakis in the fourth, but also the error and then the stolen base for Acuna Jr. in the fifth inning. And twice those leadoff runners have come around to score. Marlins trying to prevent that, keep this at a 3-1 deficit. 3 men on the left side of the infield, which is drawn in against Kurt Suzuki, who takes a pitch low and away. Suzuki is 0 for 2 today. A fly out in the second, a ground out in the fourth. And that one clipped Suzuki in the leg, first and third.
Start your day with First Things First. Join Chris Carter, Nick Wright, Jenna Wolf for the best morning sports show on television. First Things First, weekdays on FS1 and streaming live on your Fox Sports Go. Your morning routine just got a whole lot more fun.
Action in the Marlins bullpen as Lopez is at 93 pitches here in the sixth inning. It is Javi Guerra up for Miami. Well, one thing that Lopez has done in each of his starts is go 5 innings. He's gone at least 6 His last time out was the 5th time in 7 starts that he's gone at least 6 innings. So he has given the team, relative length, and especially as mentioned in the open, perhaps today more than ever, just because A, it's a doubleheader, but B, you also have a youngster in Miranda Gonzalez who, again, is built for length. He's gone 7 innings in each of his last 3 starts, but if you can get 18 outs, 19, 20 outs out of your starting pitcher, it certainly would help the bullpen a little bit in game 2. But for right now, just trying to navigate the 6th inning. 1st and 3rd, 1 out, and Charlie Culberson at the plate. Culberson popped up in foul ground in the 2nd, was intentionally walked in the 4th. Grounds this one wide of the 3rd base bag, 0-2. This one out to center field sends Sierra back, and that one's over his head. In to score easily is Camargo. On his way to 3rd, Suzuki on the RBI double for Charlie Culberson, and the Braves have a 4-1 lead.
Culberson making his 5th start at shortstop this afternoon. He's done a nice job when he's getting the opportunity to start. Gets a fastball up at the belt. Drives it off the center field wall. Short hops that center field wall. This afternoon, when Pablo's found trouble, it's been up in the zone. Fastball up.
That will be the end of the day, in fact, for both starting pitchers. Lopez being lifted for a pinch or for a reliever, and Toussaint will be lifted for a pinch hitter. For the lottery call to the bullpen here in Atlanta. It is 4-1. Jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million, so unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So it is Javi Guerra out of the Marlins bullpen. He will come in to try to limit the damage. A run in here in the 6th. The Braves have scored single runs in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. All of them the leadoff man that reached, ultimately coming around to score. 3 men on the left side of a drawn-in infield, or at least halfway for Miami, as that one misses low to the pinch hitter Adam Duvall. We've seen Guerra in a number of different roles for the Marlins the last couple of weeks. He's saved a game. He's worked clean innings. Now trying to work around some base runners, some inherited runners. that belonged to Pablo Lopez.
Guerra's inherited 7 this season. None have scored. So a nice job there. Throwing the ball pretty well. Don Mattingly really starting to lean on Guerra. A few different roles.
A ball and a strike to Duvall, who takes outside. The Braves got Duvall the day before the deadline on the 30th of July from Cincinnati. Matt Whistler, Lucas Sims, and Preston Tucker went back to the Reds. Not the first time in his career that he's been dealt right around the trade deadline. Same date, actually, a couple of years before, 3 years to be exact, from San Francisco to Cincinnati for Mike Leake.
One thing you know about Duvall, he's got tremendous power. Of his career, his early years at the major league level, we've seen the homers, we've seen the walks, and we've seen the strikeouts.
Here comes a 2-2 pitch from Guerra that misses outside. Culberson's RBI double has given the Braves a 4-1 lead here in the 6th inning. Duvall just 2 for 17 as that one skips to home plate. Still 2 for 17 in his career with the Braves, but he'll draw the walk that loads the bases for Ronald Acuna Jr.
Well, Acuna's had an impressive afternoon. He's got an opportunity here as he's going to try to add to that. Tell you what, I was as impressed with his 3rd at bat as I was with his 1st. In between, there was a walk, and when he reached on an error, his effort out of the box was fantastic. I mean, he really forced the action. I think back to the entire sequence in the 5th inning after reaching on the high throw from Riddle. Stole second base, moved up on a slow grounder, and came in to score on a sacrifice fly. That's called creating a run. He did that. Long home run his first time up.
And there's a base hit into left center field. 1 run in easily. Here comes a second. Throw goes to 3rd. It is a 2-run base hit for Ronald Acuna Jr. and a 6-1 Braves lead.
Well, another rocket off the bat of Acuna. I would be surprised if this wasn't a double. He smokes it 93 miles an hour. Well, thigh high outer 3rd, but rips it through the hole. It's short. He didn't stop around first base. Well, he has had an impressive run. An impressive afternoon as well.
Yeah, Holly,
as hot as they come.
Absolutely. It is a double for Acuna Jr. And now a 3-run inning. Marlins hoping to keep it right there. They've got the infield in against Albies, who takes a ball in on the hands, a ball and a strike.
Again, that applied pressure that this Braves lineup seems to throw at you just about every time. In this day and age, and listen, the Atlanta Braves certainly hit their home runs, but when you look at one of the better offenses in the game, today is as much a reflection on how they play as it is the power that they have in the lineup. I think most lineups we look around and say, oh, well, they score the most runs because they've got power up and down the lineup. That's not what the Braves are all about.
A base hit up the middle. That'll bring home Duvall. And now here is Acuna Jr. behind him. Some hesitation around 3rd. As initially Acuna Jr. had stopped, and then a little bit of a bobble out in center field. Then the green light, and it's now 8-1.
Well, that bobble is going to go down as an error. Albies picks on a breaking ball, lines it back through the middle. That throw allowed Albies to move up to second base as well. So again, the Atlanta Braves continuing to apply pressure. He's being held until the bobble. He's going to come around to score. And that throw over Dietrich's head. It's another runner in scoring position. Things kind of unraveling here in the 6th.
So strictly for bookkeeping purposes, it is a single, 1 RBI, an E8, and Albies goes to second on the throw. Nevertheless, an 8-1 lead now for Atlanta. Freeman takes inside, a ball and a strike. A run in the first, a run in the fourth, a run in the fifth, but a 5 spot here in the 6th inning for Atlanta. You'd have to go back and look at what is this, the 12th game between these two teams, the line scores for all 12 of those games, but it just feels like every one of the games these two teams play, the Braves have that 1 inning that they really just separate themselves from the Marlins. Every one of the 8 wins, at least to this point, it feels that it has been that way. Guerra misses upstairs, 3-1. The line is complete, of course, on Lopez. He goes 5 1/3. 6 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them were earned. A couple of walks and 5 strikeouts.
A good changeup right there by Guerra. Freddie Freeman does have the sacrifice fly today, hitless so far. 14-game hitting streak coming in.
So he's got the 2 strikeouts. Holly, I looked this one up. Just 53 games in his career has he struck out 3 times in a game. That is such a small number in today's day and age, where strikeouts are deemed okay, or at least are so prevalent. But he had the sac fly with 2 strikes his last time up. You see him battle on the last couple of pitches with a full count here in the 6th inning.
Well, I think today's, some of these younger teams, some of these really good offenses, we talk about the home run an awful lot. We obviously talk about launch angle, and I certainly don't want to indict the younger players in that, are they trying for home runs? High fly ball to left. Ortega coming in.
And he will make the catch. The throw to second, and they double him up. Caught a little bit too far off the base was Albies on what was not an easy play for Riddle or Ortega, who made the play. And then the presence of mind to throw to second base. But 5 in for Atlanta in the 6th.
early to Marlins Park on Saturday, August 25th and receive a Player Weekend jersey presented by Pepsi at the gates. Visit marlins.com/giveaways to purchase your tickets today. And this is always so much fun. The players have chosen their nicknames for that weekend, and we have picked out a couple of our favorites. Drew Steckenrider going with Stegosaurus. That is such a good one. Harlan the Marlin Garcia. All Starlin Castro, and Wei-In Chen with the clever spelling of Wei-In. You can check out the full list of nicknames at MLB.com. Tweet us your favorites to @FoxMarlins. And guys, I think I'm going to go with Wei-In, spelling it in the fancy way for Wei-In Chen.
Thank you, Jessica. I know this is a very sore subject for my partner here, who on this trip, it's a two-city road trip, and you brought an entire UFC cage with you so that you can battle Brian Holiday for the nickname Holly, which I thought was, it fit in the overhead, which was good, but that obviously would be yours, right, Holly?
It's
so
always
easy.
been mine. It can be his too. There's nothing wrong with that. He'll be Holly 1, I'll be Holly 2. That's the way it should be.
All right. What, Holly time?
I'm glad that he's got it. Well, no, that's kind of my nickname. So I mean, it's a little bit of everything. But I mean, all the way back to my playing days, it's a last name thing.
I got you.
Not his fault. I mean, his name qualifies too. He has the same start to his last name as well.
Speaking of last names,
There he is. There's
there
Holly.
he is. There he is.
Hey,
Right
Holly.
there.
He's been swinging that bat. I'll tell you what, it's been impressive.
Speaking of last names, go ahead. You did it last time. You might as well do it again. It's Biddle and it's Riddle.
Oh no.
No?
Yeah, we'll let that one go. It's 8-1. 7th.
All the more reason. It's Biddle and it's Riddle.
Well, Biddle struggled his last time out against the Milwaukee Brewers. Just a third of an inning. Picked up a blown save and, in fact, took the loss. Got knocked around a little bit. 3 hits, 3 runs, couple earned. He's had a nice season. 2.60 ERA.
So he comes on in relief of Touki Toussaint, who goes 6 strong innings, 2 hits, a run, couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. Again, possibly a spot start for him with the doubleheader today, but nevertheless, his major league debut. Your thoughts on how Toussaint fared this afternoon?
Yeah, Toussaint's got a bright future. And I'm telling you, he's going to get some things figured out here at the major league level. He's going to get an opportunity, and it's going to pay off. Kid can pitch. He's got good stuff, and he seems like, all indicators, and of course we saw this a little bit today, following along with Suzuki. He's got the ability to learn and to adapt, and to me that's always the impressive thing in young pitchers, and we've seen a lot this year. It's not just what your stuff does. A couple of times we saw 96 out of his hand today, and I'll tell you, I guess maybe the one thing I'll put out in front of everything else, his ability to add and subtract to his breaking ball. Wow, that was impressive. Usually a 22-year-old you look at and say, okay, it's one breaking ball. Sometimes he may throw it for a strike. Sometimes he may add a little velocity to it.
Galloway with a base hit into right field. Riddle up 90 feet to second base. And it's a 2-hit afternoon for Galloway.
Both his hits coming to the opposite field. The ball hard.
Well, I believe in your scouting report for Toussaint, you had rated it as a plus curve.
Yeah.
Did it match
Absolutely.
the
Well,
expectations?
and that's just it. I mean, the point is that he throws really, really hard, and he's got a lot of ways to get a big league hitter out, and I guess that's what impressed me the most. It can be about his fastball. It can be about his changeup. Oh, by the way, it impressed me a little bit more. People always rave about certain things, but that's the other thing. He went curveball first and then went to that changeup a little bit more second and third time through, all while playing off a 94, 96 mile an hour fastball with arm side runs. So yes, I think this young man is going to have a bright future with the Atlanta Braves. Well worth every penny that they spent to get him.
Here is Sierra. Slaps one foul, and Yadiel Rivera in the on-deck circle has to duck out of the way. Riddle on at second with a walk. Galloway on at first with his first career multi-hit game. This one chopped to Camargo. They get one. And that is all they will get on the fielder's choice. Marlins have runners on the corners with one out. So here is Yadiel Rivera. Strikeout back in the second and a line out in the fifth. Brian Anderson in the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next. Ball and a strike to Yadi.
Well, Yadi hasn't been getting a whole lot of playing time. I've seen some vulnerability on that breaking ball this afternoon. Toussaint went at him a few different times with the breaking ball. Biddle as well just picked up a strike. That was always my greatest challenge my last few years of my career as a platoon player or as a fourth outfielder. The ability to handle the off-speed pitch is not easy to do when you don't get regular playing time.
And we had seen it earlier this year. There was a pocket of time there where he was getting some regular at bats and starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm at the plate. Of course, that has been the challenge. Two and two. This is upstairs and the count runs full. Well, not sure how his playing time will be affected going forward. Again, the news on Martin Prado, who started this ball game, left with a left quad strain, currently being listed as day-to-day.
Well, it will probably provide at least a little bit more opportunity for Rivera on the infield, as we mentioned in the open. Only his first start on the infield since July 5th.
This one chopped up the middle, brings Albies right to the second base bag and on to first for the inning-ending double play through 6.5. Marlins down by 7.
I'll tell you what, this young man has been so impressive today. Acuna started the game off with a long home run to center field. This is the one that catches my attention. Routine ground ball to short. Forces the action, safe at first. Well, he's not done there. 2 pitches later, he's off. He's going to steal second base. And there's going to be a slow roller up the middle by Albies. He's going to move up. That's right. Take the next base. Continue to put that pressure on the Marlins. And there you go. Freddie Freeman lining out to left, but he's going to get a sacrifice fly because Acuna Jr. possesses that type of speed. It's been an impressive afternoon. And oh, by the way, he's not done yet. But a little exit velocity on a base hit. A hustle double, if you will. And he's been impressive. Again, numbers so good for Acuna here in the second half.
Nick Markakis to lead things off, then Johan Camargo and Ender Inciarte. Harlan Garcia out to work the 7th inning. And gets one past Markakis for strike 1. Saw Garcia a couple of days ago. Twice, in fact, in the series against the New York Mets. Worked an inning and a third over those 2 games. And this is his 17th game at the big league level. And that was ball 1.
JT Realmuto in at first base. A little reshuffling of the deck here in between innings. Obviously Garcia on the mound. And Galloway moved over to center field. Holiday behind the plate.
Here comes the 1-2 from Garcia. Swung on and missed as he gets Markakis.
And Double D makes his way out to left. There you go. That's the changes for you. Nice start, Harlan Garcia.
Oh, you forgot one. Ortega's in right.
Oh, there we go. Ortega's in
it's like the 5th inning of an all-star game right here.
I'm telling you, there was what, 7 moves there? 6, 7 moves? We were close.
6.
There you go.
That's amazing. I've done my fair share of all-star games, you know, Arizona Fall League games or AAA all-star games. Those middle innings, when you see those changes come, that's when the blood starts to boil. Because you're like, boy, oh boy, I hope all these changes get into the scorebook before the line drive into the gap where some guy makes a diving catch and you sit there, and that's a great play by Jones out there. Strikeout of Camargo, back-to-back strikeouts in the inning for Garcia. It's time now for the Toyota Inside Look. We're on a Monday afternoon in Atlanta. We focus in on the Atlanta Braves, offering at the first pitch 35% of the time, but it has led to some success as well. A Major League best 3rd with a .260 batting average.
Well, and I think that works well for the Atlanta Braves. And it's not that they don't walk. I feel like sometimes we show those numbers. It really is just to who they are as a team. You know, line to line. We've seen enough of the Atlanta Braves, and I think you'll agree that this is a talented group who hits first. It's not about the home runs. They just seem to happen.
A 1-2-3 7th for Garcia. 8th inning. A new pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Yesterday, after the ball game, the Marlins made the announcement that they had acquired Chris Bostic, and he was assigned to AAA New Orleans. A cash deal, hitting .295 this year, 4 homers, 32 RBIs. Originally an Oakland A's draft pick. And again, into that mix, that outfield mix now for the Miami Marlins, getting to a point in time where September is coming up quickly, so rosters expand. Not sure if we'll see him come September, but of course the Marlins are going to use these last, what are we at now, 6 or 7 weeks of the Major League season to kind of get a gauge as to who can help the club the rest of the way. Maybe get themselves a look next spring. As Brian Holliday leads things off and takes a called strike, a ball and a strike from the new pitcher Chad Sabatka.
Sabatka, a big guy, 6'7", 225 pounds, 25 years old. Hard thrower, 97, 98 miles an hour. Good breaking ball.
So Holliday in as part of those changes last half inning. Figured to get the start in the nightcap tonight.
Sabatka had his contract selected just a couple of days ago from AAA Gwinnett. His Major League debut, August 10th.
Cut on and missed, and Sabatka gets the strikeout. One away here in the 8th.
For the Atlanta Braves, we're ahead 8-1 here in the top of the 8th inning. Starting to get things moving here in the second half. 12-9 since the All-Star break. A nice series against the Milwaukee Brewers. You mentioned doubleheader today. Of course, Philadelphia Phillies only playing one game, but they came in today tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the lead in the National League East. Braves 36-19 versus the East. I think that's the one thing that really stands out talking about the Braves' chances this year of winning the division.
Well, it seems the conversation seems to go almost on a week-to-week basis, right? I mean, we're around a lot of different broadcast teams, reporters, personnel, whatever. You have these off-the-record conversations about, you know, what do you really think about this team or that team? Sometimes you'll hear, well, the Braves are for real and they're going to run away with the division. Sometimes you hear, well, the Phillies are for real and they're going to run away with the division. And then a week goes by and, well, the Braves are a young team and, the Phillies will tighten up here or there. It's the ebbs and flows of it are unbelievable. And then the team that we hadn't even mentioned, Washington Nationals, you look at these playoff odds, different, you know, Fangraphs will have it, or the different playoff odds, and there's still a chance that the Nationals could get to the postseason. They're 5.5 back right now. That's not insurmountable, I understand, but to get to the postseason, and I saw them today, top 5 or 6 to win the World Series. So for a team like the Nationals, it's really just about get into the tournament and then see if everything else kind of works its way out. Ortega out to left center field, drifting over is Inciarte for the second out here in the 8th.
Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets, enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
Split admission doubleheader here in Atlanta. Inside to Rojas at 97 miles an hour. Sabatka struck out Holiday to begin the inning. 75 strikeouts in 54 2/3 minor league innings this year. A strikeout per nine of over 12, but this will pop up to Freeman. A 1-2-3-8 here at SunTrust. This day night doubleheader on the air with the Marlins Live pregame show at 7. First pitch, 7:35. Marlins and Braves. Mike Foltynewicz on the mound for Atlanta. And our first look at Merandy Gonzalez as a starter. Seen him out of the bullpen this year for Miami, but has worked 7 innings in 3 consecutive starts in the minor leagues. So he'll get the ball tonight in, what, about 3.5 hours or so. Harlan Garcia back out for his second inning of work as Kurt Suzuki nubs that one foul. 0-1.
I'll tell you what, we've seen good things from Harlan Garcia here this afternoon, and of late he's been pitching pretty well. Last 3 times out, he's only given up a couple of hits, no earned runs, 3 strikeouts, no walks. The Marlins certainly should be happy to see that with Harlan. How things had turned. You go back to the beginning of the season, Harlan pitching outstanding, thrust into the rotation because they needed him to, and pitched great for a while.
There's a base hit lined over the leaping attempt of JT Realmuto. A leadoff base hit for Suzuki here in the 8th. Another big hit output today for the Atlanta Braves, but certainly nothing like what they endured yesterday when the Milwaukee Brewers pounded out 19 hits in their series finale. However, the Atlanta Braves won that game for just the 3rd time in franchise history that they had won a game in which they allowed 19 hits. 3-59 as a franchise since 1966. But the Braves have been playing some pretty good baseball as of late, as Culberson sends one out to center field. And that is out number 1 here in the 8th. T-Mobile presents Hats Off for Heroes. Focus in on Darren O'Day, recently acquired by the Atlanta Braves from the Baltimore Orioles. A supporter of Luke's Wings and the Orioles military suite program. Of course, O'Day, along with Brad Brock, Johnny Venters, some relievers brought over. O'Day dealing with injury So figure to get him back at some point next year. But the other part of that O'Day deal was also the acquisition of Kevin Gausman, who we will see later in this series on Wednesday night. And Sabatka hitting for himself, finds a hole on the right side. So for Sabatka, his first career hit in his first career plate appearance.
There's a handshake from EY over at first base. Eric Young, the first base coach of the Atlanta Braves.
Not a bad piece of hitting. Kind of poked it through the right side. 2 on 1 out for Acuna Jr., who started the scoring today for the Braves with a leadoff home run. That was in the first, a walk in the third. Reached on an error, came around to score in the fifth, and a 2 RBI double in the 6th inning. Called strike, 0-2.
Yeah, good changeup, the outside edge. Started him off with a slider. Acuna thinking about the inside part of the plate. Back outside with a changeup.
Garcia wanted that one, but you could see it was just off the plate. Ball and 2 strikes. Garcia, the third pitcher today for Miami. Pablo Lopez started the game 5 1/3 innings, and this is 8th big league start. He's gone at least 5 in all of his outings, but did give up 6 runs, 5 of them earned. Javi Guerra had a couple of outs to finish off the 6th inning. And Garcia in his 2nd inning of work. Makes Acuna Jr. move his feet, and the count even up 2-2. Three balls and 2 strikes on the Braves left fielder. Really got that sleeve up now, doesn't he?
It's bothering him.
Looks like a running back after you get tackled. You know, you get the shoulder pad all caught up in there. Did you wear those cutoffs with the Reds? They used to have those, right?
A few uniforms that had the cutoffs, yes.
Bases loaded, 1 out in the 8th.
Well, after getting ahead 0-2, Marlin nibbling on the corners, nibbling on those edges against Acuna.
WB Mason Marlins Live post-game show. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson standing by in our Fox Sports Florida studios. We'll hear from Don Mattingly. See if we can get some added details on the injury to Martin Prado. And we'll also get you set for game 2 a little bit on the post-game show. Guys will break for dinner, maybe a quick nap, who knows. Jeff Nelson will give way to Tommy Hutton for the pregame show. Miranda Gonzalez and Mike Fultonevich on the air at 7 o'clock. First pitch 7:35. to center field. Galloway on the track, leaps, and it's in and out of his glove. 1 run will score. Everybody moves up 90 feet. And now we focus on Galloway out in center field, who had it for a moment and then slammed into the wall on what is going to be ruled a long single.
Well, a tremendous effort by Galloway in center. Does everything he can to make this catch high on the wall. As he runs into the wall, the ball comes out of his glove.
Well, that's twice in, what, 2 or 3 days that we have seen a Marlins outfielder make a terrific play only to have the wall cause the fumble. As Freeman chops one just foul down the first base line.
Well, I think for the Braves fans in the ballpark, about all that's left is to see whether or not Freddie Freeman's going to extend his hitting streak to 15 games. 3 for 3 on the afternoon. Did a fly ball double play last time up, struck out his first 2 times.
Right back to the screen. It's 0-2. Well, he's had hit streaks as high as 30. A 30-game hit streak. Late August into late September 2016. A 20-game hit streak back in 2011. As we mentioned before, the 3rd time this year that he's had a double-digit hit streak. However, it will end here on the 4-6-3 ground ball double play. An 0 for afternoon for Freddie Freeman as we head to the 9th. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Paying homage to Hank Aaron here in Atlanta. Of course, home run hitter, 755 in his career. With home runs on the mind, we focus in on one that got it started today. The Florida Lottery in-game jackpot takes us back to the 1st inning for Ronald Acuna Jr. That's how it all began today. Another home run and out of the leadoff spot, with which he has been so productive in the last few weeks for the Atlanta Braves. with a 9-1 lead heading to the top of the 9th inning. JT Realmuto, Derek Dietrich, and JT Riddle due up for Miami. Sabatka's first pitch is outside at 95 miles an hour. Second inning of work for Sabatka, who worked a 1-2-3 8th inning.
Well, there have been good signs from JT Realmuto over the last few days. Better at bats. Go back to the Mets series. On base a couple times today. Was hit by a pitch and a walk. Really for the challenge for JT going forward, and I know that he was struggling just a little bit with the bat going outside the strike zone. And with the loss of Bohr and the struggles of this offense, he feels the pressure a little bit more, as most typically try to avoid him, as you see right there. Leadoff walk. Third time on base today for JT.
Well, you mentioned Bohr, and I know that the conversation and the point that you're bringing up now about JT is something that we did talk an awful lot about with Justin Bohr, was the change in the lineup from last year to this year, and how you kind of have to discipline yourself to not go outside the strike zone and not chase pitches, A, and B, when you do get your pitch, which may not come that often, the pressure to not miss it either, if you're a guy like JT Realmuto.
Well, the desire that JT has is that he knows his team and his offense is struggling just a bit right now, and he wants to do more, and that's the tough part of the game of baseball as a player, and we certainly know how talented JT is. You know, in his mind, I think sometimes he'll think that he can do a little bit more, even if that pitch is just off the outside corner or just up, that maybe a big swing from JT will help out that cause. That's just it. He just wants to do it so much. But you're right. I mean, the game of baseball is, especially for the hitters, not a game where you can create offense. There aren't too many. Well, we used to say this back in the day, that Vladimir Guerreros that can, you know, really expand their strike zone and still maintain that high level of impact on a baseball game. It really forces you as a hitter to be selective and stay to your game.
Dietrich out to center, and Ciarte makes the play for the first out. I mean, you try to liken it to other sports.
Well, other sports, other sports, you think about football or baseball. If you want to do more, we talk effort. A lot of times more effort results in better results. I mean, that's just it. You try a little bit harder, you practice a little bit harder. But in the game of baseball, where I say this an awful lot, the defense holds the ball.
Yeah.
You know, as a hitter, you want to do more. You want to help your teammates out. You want to help them score runs, but you can't get away from what your game plan is.
Yeah, you can't hog the ball, can't hog the puck, you can't hit somebody harder over the middle, you can't.
It's just such an interesting dynamic, because you go through it in your head as a player, and you want to help, but you can't swing at the curveball in the dirt or the fastball that's still 3-4 inches outside.
JT Riddle fouls it away, a ball on a strike to JT. Single in the second, a ground out in the fourth, and a walk in the seventh.
Yeah, talking an awful lot, seeing an awful lot of the Atlanta Braves here in the second half. Of course, up 9-1 here in the top of the ninth inning. Isn't it interesting? Freeman 0 for 4 this afternoon, hitting streak coming to an end, and I think it's a reflection of how talented the Braves are, but in a lot of ways how mean the game of baseball can be as well.
The only position player starter without a hit today.
Right. And I wasn't going to dare say came in as the hottest. Now, he had the heating streak, but there were a number of Braves hitters that were hot coming into this game today. The point being, they've scored 9 runs on a day in which he loses his hitting streak and goes 0 for 4.
Right.
It shows you how good this Braves team is.
Well, Markakis has extended his hit streak to 9 games. And Ronald Acuna Jr. up to 6. Inside to Riddle. Second walk of the inning. And the Marlins have 2 on and 1 out for Isaac Galloway. A nice day for Galloway at the plate today. Has driven in the only Marlins run. His first big league double and RBI back in the second inning. Also notched his first career multi-hit game, adding a base hit in the 7th. It came real close to having made a terrific play out in center field in the last half inning with the Braves at the dish. But ball popped loose as he banged into the wall. See Brian Anderson on deck. Sabatka, the third Braves pitcher of the day. It started with Touki Toussaint. Sabatka strikes out Galloway, and the Marlins down to the last out this afternoon.
Well, that breaking ball backed up to the inside part of the plate.
Well, this will be Brian Anderson to pinch hit. Pitcher's spot due up. So Toussaint in his first big league start, his major league debut, in fact, 6 innings, 2 hits, and a run, in line for his first major league win.
Brian Anderson hitting .406 with runners in scoring position. I'd love to get some momentum going into game 2 for BA.
Cut on and missed. I suppose if you're looking for a bright spot today for the Marlins with the second game of the doubleheader coming up later. 2/3 of an inning for Javi Guerra. And 2 innings of work for Harlan Garcia, who you'd think would be out for later on tonight. As Merandy Gonzalez will make his first big league start, 7:30 tonight. Added as the 26th man for the Marlins for the doubleheader. Once again, the big inning has got the Marlins against the Atlanta Braves. A 5 spot in the 6th inning. And the Marlins, with 3 walks here in the 9th inning, have loaded the bases.
Nice at bat by Anderson. Couple of lively fastballs on the outside edge, lays off. It's going to load him up.
quick chat with Suzuki as Rivera steps in, looking for his first hit this afternoon. A strikeout, a line out, and a double play today for Yachty. Into the seats. And the Marlins down to their final strike. Chased one in the dirt, and that'll do it. Braves take the opener of the day-night doubleheader. Final count of 9-1. Touki Toussaint, in his major league debut, picks up the win. Pablo Lopez suffers his third loss. We step aside. The Marlins live postgame show coming up on the other side of the break. Stick around for Game 2 later tonight.